have some solutions for you and lots of good news. What comes with it, though, is the requirement for you to be kind as I talk to you about you. My name's Poppy. Take what you want, leave what you don't. I'm a psychotherapist, psychologist and coach. 30 years practice, and I self-regulate. So many of your problems, mine too, however, I'm a little bit more advanced, probably because I've studied for fucking forever. And I've had some nose plants myself. So firstly, let's just start with the breath. Everything that you need is within you. And I mean that wholeheartedly. There are some inalienable rights that you have, some rights that nobody can take from you that are yours, and some skills that you don't know about because, in my opinion, you will have been groomed to not know about them, to minimize yourself, to gaslight yourself, to worry, to doubt, to pacify. However, the reality of it is your life would be best served if you use that courage that you actually do have. You've just been scared out of using it. Am I right? If you think about the kinds of things that upset you, the world and his dog, most people, I would say, are playing the victim. And I use that quite deliberately to be provocative. Because if you consider for a minute, gently, we can be gentle and straight at the same time. We can be truthful and kind at the same time. We can be angry and hurting at the same time. We can be many things together, and it doesn't need to threaten or eradicate the other thing. It's only the very insecure and people who feel inadequate that try and cancel out other people who threaten them. It's a sure sign way to know whether or not someone has very little ego strength, very little capacity to be challenged with anything because they feel so very, very weak and small. Unfortunately, as a culture, we're mimicking that. Whether we actually believe it or not, we're like little kids looking up at the adult when we fall. We're scared, looking for evidence for how we should be. So most people are in a victim position. And what I mean by that is if you consider the kinds of things, relationships, issues, challenges, experiences you have where you have some resentment. If you consider it, I get that you're lovely, we all are. However, the resentment, the anger, the pain, you shouldn't do it that way. If you were doing the right thing by me, you wouldn't do it that way. You would think better. You would be more rational. You would consider, who is there in your life you have resentment toward? Teacher from school, family member, someone close to you, someone who's hurt you in some kind of way, someone who was clumsy, someone who didn't see your side of things. You resent them. Holding resentment is taking the victim position, because what that's saying is, you change, I'll be fine. You get it, I'll be fine. I wouldn't be feeling X, Y, and Z, experiencing X, Y, and Z if you would have been different. Victim position. It's also dictatorship that says, there's nothing wrong at this end, it's you, which is very short-sighted. And not only that, it takes your power away forevermore. The victim position, or learned helplessness, that a lot of us have been groomed for, which is whatever's happening with you in your life right now is personal to you. It's about you. It affects all areas of your life and it will never change. Learned helplessness. It's a horrible place to be, and I really feel you if you're there. And we can have more than one thing at the same time. And I'm willing to bet that most things in your life, most issues you're having, you may be having physiological issues, of course, because the body follows suit. The mind, is a switching station for the body. So if something's going on that's super unpleasant and stressful and overwhelming and so on, your body will have responses very particularly if you don't have the words in order to protect yourself, set limits, design the life you want on your terms. If you don't have the ability to assert yourself and or know where to begin, the body will start doing things for you in protection of you. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually divine intervention. Is your body, like your best friend, is saying, no, we're not finished. There is a problem over here, actually. Imagine you're being bullied at school. This is the general person, in my opinion. You're being bullied at school and your best mate's watching. And the teacher comes over and says, is there a problem over here? And your best mate says, yes, there is. In the form of your irritable bowel or your migraines or your high blood pressure or your whatever. Bulimia, addictions, people pleasing, scrolling at night. It's all cries for help, and it can be and will be and is changed if you learn to use that beautiful spirit within you for good. And what I mean by that is learning how to speak directly, courageously, truthfully. And as I call often, is to ask yourself so that you know if you're trustworthy, if you're a truthful, trustworthy person, then you just get to ask yourself, can you trust you to follow through on the things you know are not okay in your life, your own behaviour, as well as other people around you? Can you trust yourself to follow through, to speak directly? If you see someone in your family is struggling, for example, with drinking or mood or something, do you have the courage, the integrity to say, hey, could we have a chat? Could we have a discussion? I noticed something, I care. I'd like to do something, rather than buy you the drink at Christmas or turn a blind eye while you X, Y, and Z, passive aggressive something, and you never raise it because you don't want the conflict. We're in a lot of trouble in this world. You're not alone. People are going through it. We're not the enemy. In my opinion, the enemy is our need to find and source love from outside. How's it working for you? That outside of you lies the answers to you and your problems. Or that you shouldn't have any problems, which is the biggest problem most of us have. Things have happened to us. Really, really terrifically difficult things for the most part. I've never met someone in 30 years of being in whatever queue, lift, consulting room, workshop, you name it. I've never met anyone who hasn't told me in some way, shape or form, if it's not just the lines on their face and how their expression rests. We carry our traumas and we are the people we are today because of them. The people who are very beautiful and kind and gentle with you, very generous, that's trauma speaking. The people who are shouting and raving and leaking with their rage that they cannot contain, that is trauma speaking. The people who give you up a seat on the bus, that is trauma speaking. We've all been through it. And often we're in it a lot. And by the way, the dark night of the soul is there for us many, 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 many times. And no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's a threshold of change, a call for change. When we get really disturbed and really activated and really hurt and wounded and overwhelmed and stressed out and having a breakthrough and a breakdown at the same time, that is a call from your spirit that says, this shit stinks, something needs to change. Unfortunately, though, the powers that be realised quite some time ago that they can make money from your distress. So whilst we're fighting inside at each other, you're doing it wrong, if you thought like me, if you weren't like that, if if my resentment is so powerful because I'm in victim place, if you change, we're not the problem here. It's the culture. What we've been groomed to do with our problems is the fucking problem. So my solution here is twofold. One is get thrive, boundaries, mastery. Anything you have going on, in my opinion, pretty much I can't think of something that's not relevant, is a boundaries issue. You can't trust you because you're not trustworthy. You don't follow through, you don't respect you don't address you don't listen to you, and you certainly don't act on what you know you need. You undermine you because you feel you're flipping irrelevant. And then we get all pity because other people online or wherever else give us the idea that we're irrelevant because they simply mirror back what we are feeling about us. Our deepest wound is always projected back by other people's opinions, and it may even be happening in the feed. And if it does, let's love on whoever's doing it. You're me, my love, I'm you. There's very little difference between any of us. We just have different ways of coping with the devastation of being on planet Earth. 1. Thrive Boundaries Mastery. You're very welcome. You've got 90 days access. It was nearly £300 recently. Now it is pay what you feel you are worth. The other is you have the answers to the problems that you have. And it is not in wishing someone else would change, waiting for someone else to apologise, or resenting other people because they are not you. That is not generous whatsoever. It's dictatorial. And it's not your fault because we've been groomed to be this pathetic, weak and emotionally crippled because you're being made money from buckets of the stuff. So what you could do is ask yourself, who have I got issues with in my life currently? And what is it I'm saying about that person? And what they should do and shouldn't do? And is it all ego judgment? If they did X, Y, and Z differently, then things would be good. That's not generous. It's very, very, very infantile. And again, we're groomed to think that if everything outside, we get to come inside, what you get to do is be very gentle with you, to remind yourself that you have extraordinary talents and abilities. However, you probably aren't thinking about them, looking at them, using them, sharpening them. And therefore, life's going to be this way forevermore, unless you change. If you're resenting people, you're in a victim position. And in a victim position says, if someone else does something different, I will have a different kind of experience, life, and so on. That's not an adult way of being. That's disempowered, overwhelmed, stressed out, unwell, childlike, regressed, very unfair advantage, where you are over-identified with something that has happened to you that has hurt you. Over-identified. We have all been victim to something and or are. However, it's not the whole of you, it's one part of you. And that one part of you, in my opinion, my very informed opinion, says you get to come to that part of you's aid. What's the problem? Not the surface symptom of your dis-ease, the problem. And you know exactly what it is. It will be something about you and what you are allowing between you and you. Standards, things you're eating for definite, places you're going, things you're allowing. You, not other people. And that's why Thrive Boundaries Mastery can support you, because boundaries are there for you, not others. By extension, others. However, boundaries are about your relationship between you and you, what you allow you to think, to feel, and to do. So, you have a choice. You could be kind to yourself. You could realise that you're being set up to think that you're not all that. And then you're being threatened by what other people are doing, which has nothing to do with you. That is their stuff. You can affect change if you take responsibility for change within you. Because yes, things get to change, unless you want to just suck it up and be okay with where you're at. And I'm guessing if you're 14 minutes into my rampage, probably you're looking for something else. Thrive Boundaries Mastery. You could start there. Equally, I'm here on Sundays, 7 p.m. UK. You're very welcome to come and join us. Please go gently. We're being called in so many different ways to actually embody the people that we were born to be. Not passive receptacles, not some kind of cannon fodder for the big pharma or the big ag or whoever else has an agenda in making money from us. You can play the victim all you want, however, nothing changes from that place. You could start to get inquisitive about your tools, your insights, your knowledge, your trauma, how that can aid you and other people if you are to actually consider what is not okay in your life and what would you like to do about it. And I'm here to support you all of the way. Send in love, like, share, follow, all the things, and I will see you again.